10 minutes after the hour, slightly late. Huh? Okay, but a new time though is anticipating our previous time on a Thursday, which used to be 5 p.m. here in California. Instead, it's 10 minutes past 4 now here in California. Do you know that Mark Zuckerberg today left California and went to Italy? He was received by the Italian Prime Minister to discuss the metaverse. I mean, this really shows you what kind of hideous government there is in Italy. Well, the people of Italy deserve the government they have, because that's what you get when you want to do a proper revolution to change things up, and the Italians never really had that. However, here we are starting off for our Leo Zagami show with a special subject today, right at the eve of the launch of the new film of this Doctor Strange Marvel character dedicated to the multiverse. Here we are! Spread the news. We are back at the Leo Zagami show every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning.
Where is everybody?
Where is everybody? Where is everybody?
I think we keep changing our time.
No.
People can't figure it out.
No, it's okay.
Like,
it's
people
okay.
think we're going to be on at 5, so they're not even paying attention. And then when 5 comes around, then they're going to be like, oh, I missed half of it.
Well, they can get the replay. Somebody says, oh, I thought it was in Italian. No, this is the Leo Zagami show. Non è la trasmissione all'esule. This is the Leo Zagami show in English language. So today a subject of interest, I guess, for those people who are also very well acquainted with my latest book, Volume 7 of My Confessions. Not only available in paperback, hey Steve, you know that this book is also available for the first time. One of my books is available in the hardback edition in the English language. Huh? You forgot the other books? Okay, well, you can get them in a second. We have a few videos that we're going to show, so no worries. However, I've discussed, as the readers of this book know very well, the subject of portals, multiverse portals. A subject which I also touch in another book. Actually, why don't you go and pick it up? Invisible Master also. Invisible Master as well as the other books. It's a particular day, like I said. Zuckerberg went to Italy and spent 1 hour with the Italian Prime Minister talking about the metaverse. I think he must be the first politician to have such an in-depth discussion about the metaverse, this other dimension which is being artificially created by Mark Zuckerberg, where these various people who are actually working on the metaverse, not only Zuckerberg, this is another of the subjects which I actually touch in my latest book. Going back to the subject of the multidimensional reality, I think that this book, Invisible Master in particular, is also a very good book. But today we're going to be talking about so many things. In the meantime, of course, we shamelessly promote our products which help support this show. Remember that we need to have you as sponsor of this show. So either you purchase one of our books, or either you do the occasional donation through Fundly, GoFundMe, or Cash App. Here we are. There is a few people that are tuning in. I hope more will be tuning in soon. We will be starting, of course, with the subject of the day, which of course brings us also to talk about a movie that actually brings in also the subject of the Illuminati as some kind of positive force of superheroes. I mean, this could only be done by Marvel. I mean, it's pretty incredible. No, we can actually just go on this trailer for a second. Check this out.
Stephen Strange. The Illuminati will see you now. We will see what kind of Doctor Strange you are. On May 6th, you cannot control everything, Strange. Nothing can prepare you. You opened the doorway between universes.
You open the door between universes. Wow, now it's kind of becoming mainstream, the whole thing. I guess that these superheroes also are part now of the Illuminati. So what do you think, Christy, about it's far out? Let's go first of all to discover the Illuminati members in Doctor Strange 2, just to have a look at this, because I mean it's an interesting development, of course. The Illuminati members in Doctor Strange 2 listed and explained. Who are the Illuminati? Now the Illuminati suddenly are gonna be portrayed as superheroes. I guess that Marvel, after portraying a Chinese superhero, needed to, of course, bring out also the Illuminati in a multiverse reality. We meet the Illuminati in the multiverse. Well, it's very interesting, as of course I've discussed years ago in Invisible Master the fact that the Illuminati, secret societies, had been doing this for a long time, meaning opening portals with other dimensions. You know, we had it. We have also an experience here very close to us in the Mojave Desert, and in that particular area where apparently the followers of Aleister Crowley also opened a portal in 1947 with Hubbard, the founder of Scientology. But here is the fictional heroes of Doctor Strange, to this new movie that is about to come out, and there is a bunch of characters that are part of this, of course, secret society of superheroes. You see, this is now I'm also a former superhero.
But do they have the original ones too, or are these all new ones? Because I thought I saw Captain Marvel.
Well, I mean, there is definitely.
I mean, he's all old school.
Sure, but I mean, they all interconnect in some kind of multiverse in which they all belong, though, to a secret society, which, of course, it's controlling and making sure that they can, in some way, exchange their superhero activities and meet regularly. You see, each member represents a different group of superheroes, and they meet regularly with the aim of exchanging information to prevent wars and conflict across the multiverse. Now, going back to some more serious topics. So, people here are, of course, interested in knowing what is happening. Why now? Why are we discussing now the multiverse reality?
Mind bending.
We don't know who or what will walk through it.
Descent into madness. This is the only way. I'm ready. This path exacts a heavy toll. Okay.
Even the opening of the third eye Wow. Trash movies with some, of course, elements of truth scattered here and there. But today, of course, we will be discussing instead the more serious topics that are treated also in my latest book, as well as Invisible Master. So these two books will be used as a reference for what will be a descent into these mysteries, descent into these mysteries that are not so known and discussed. Did you know that the portals of hell were initially opened recently by the Swiss Illuminati?
In Chern?
No, in Chern, but not only in Chern, because there was also the inauguration, the famous inauguration of the Goddard Tunnel. So there is definitely some interesting events that happen, especially in 2016. In fact, you remember I made actually a video back then on your channel, your now defunct channel.
I got a lot of views on that one.
So the opening of the gates of portals of hell that we are all witnessing in the last years didn't happen really in one day, because we are reaching, of course, an Armageddon end time scenario. In 2016, for example, the world was shocked by some unusual events that happened right in the heart of Europe, in Switzerland, to be precise, where the German Illuminati always had a very relevant presence. And, of course, the place where Professor Klaus Schwab from the infamous World Economic Forum launched his Jesuit-driven project that will culminate with the Great Reset. So I know you always thought that Switzerland was only Swiss cheese, Swiss chocolate, and Swiss Alps. I brought you there, Christine, for the first time. You've never been in Switzerland.
Swiss Army knife.
And we bought, I think we bought actually, it was like a pen with a Swiss Army knife attached. Wow, I wish I still have that. It was really cool. I wonder where it ended up. I don't know. Well, we lost a lot of things while we moved here, but they're all physical things in this reality. But we are in front of a multiverse reality discussion today. And there was actually a Masonic rite, the Memphis and Mizraim of a very interesting Italian gentleman who basically Gastone Ventura. And this rite was particular, Christy, because instead of talking about the great architect of the universe, he referred to the great architect of the universes. So the Mizraim and Memphis of Gastone Ventura, instead of referring as a traditional continental Freemasonry refers to the great architect of the universe, referred instead to the great architect of the universes. So that's a very interesting point, especially from such an esoteric rite. Now, let's go back to what happened in Switzerland, because we have some very interesting images that from back then, and they really make us understand the weirdness of what was going on in Switzerland. By the way, we also had at the beginning, I remember 2016, those clouds that happened to make a weird formation on top of CERN, and we will also discuss the ritual that was conducted during the summer of that year, also in CERN, that mocking, they said, human sacrifice. So definitely a lot of things happened in Switzerland. Welcome to the Leo Zagami show. This was the Goddard base tunnel opening ceremony inside, because there was also one outside that we will go and check out in a second, but already this one is pretty twisted and macabre. weird and demonic, and it's only the beginning, because you even gonna have a Baphomet-like creature coming out, and definitely more than a demonic figure in this inauguration that happened back in 2016 in the center, in the heart of Europe. Now, why Switzerland? Why Switzerland? The German scholar Lothar Diel, himself a Freemason and Illuminati, born in 1937, author of an excellent trilogy called Initiatic Orders and Mystery School, not available, unfortunately, in the English language. One of the leaders of the pre-Crowellian OTO based in Switzerland, known as the Metzger OTO, said in the first volume, wrote in the first volume of his trilogy, the deviant arcanum of sexual power is reflected in the twisted practices of the so-called libertine Gnostic sects, known for their sexual excesses and are not to be compared to the authentic traditional Gnostic churches. I don't know if he thought he was authentic or not, but from what I know, they conducted regularly Crowellian masses in that place. What you're watching here was, of course, a very weird ritual that was conducted in front of all the heads of state in Europe. And of course, we can discuss here in depth all the links that places like Mount Verità, for example, have with the very foundation of the New Age movement, the Theosophical milieu, very strong people like Franz Hartmann moving and in Switzerland and building their first abbey there, which became an experiment in New Age philosophy. Switzerland has always been not only you see, this is a kind of a Luciferian figure. I mean, what is this?
Yeah, what is that?
It's definitely a very Luciferian, a fallen angel takes the stage. Let's remember that in Switzerland they founded the World League of the Illuminati at one point, involved with this World League of the Illuminati. The leader of this Swiss chapter of the World League of the Illuminati was called Metzger, and it's very interesting. There's a very deep history connected also to the Sabbatean Frankist Messianic conspiracy, because then Metzger himself was connected with one of the leading figures of the Zionist movement, who was, of course, connected to the Sabbatean Frankist. So here we are today, showing you some images, because it's basically claimed that what they were doing here was not only to inaugurate the Gotthard base tunnel, but something different. This is, of course, a tunnel measuring over 57 kilometers and costing over 11 billion euros. It was inaugurated in 2016. This is the ceremony. You see, it's like it's very obvious there is satanic elements, because actually the place in itself is connected to a folklore legend about the Devil's Bridge.
That's what I was going to ask. Why in that place?
Yes, I mean, the Devil's Bridge happened to be there, and it's the legend of this particular bridge that states that a Swiss herdsman asked the devil to help him build a bridge. So maybe they asked the devil to also help them build the tunnel. Welcome to the Leo Zagami show. The subject of today is, of course, the opening of various portals, interdimensional portals, that has of course they have opened these portals, and they have done it symbolically, but they are also doing it scientifically in CERN. So, I mean, Switzerland in particular seems to be the center of all this demonic activity. And if you thought that this was the most demonic part of this actual ceremony, you are wrong, because there is an even more demonic part that I'm about to show you that really demonstrates that there was something sinister at work here. So, in the meantime, welcome everybody to the Leo Zagami show. You know that we try to bring you the best information here. So this was the outside ritual, and it's even more sinister, to tell you the truth.
And they walk like zombies.
Yeah, like our friend Bruce pointed out in the chat. Very similar to the work done in Metropolis, which of course is also the subject. I mean, of the cover of volume 6.66. You know, so here we have this very demonic underlying of what is being done in a place that basically saw the inauguration of this Gotthard-based tunnel in 2016, with all I mean, for this Luciferian ceremony, all the authorities of Europe were present. Now, we have discussed in the last couple of weeks also the fact that the West seems to really embrace Satanism. And it's like the rejection of all this that is leading somehow to a confrontation with also Russia. It's the West that seems to have really opened the doors of hell. And they literally did this in the last few years with no remorse. Now, all this might seem very innocent, but in a few seconds, you're going to see the darkness of this ritual and the darkness of the central figure of this ritual. So the devil appeared, I mean, talking to you about the legend, you know? The devil appeared because this guy required him, you know, I want to build this bridge. But to build this bridge, the devil required his soul. So this guy tricked the devil. He agreed with Satan, you know, basically that he will pay with his soul, but drove a goat across ahead of him, fooling his adversary. But then the devil, angry with this sham, fetched a rock, intending to smash the bridge, but an old woman drew a cross on the rock, so the devil could not lift it anymore. I mean, it's a legend, of course. The rock is still there, and in 1977, 300,000 Swiss francs were spent to move the 220-ton rock by 120 meters to make room for the new Gotthard Road tunnel. So you see, they moved that symbol of,
and that was kind of like God, right? Because it had a cross on it.
Yes, I mean, it had a cross, so they blocked the demonic from proceeding, and now they kind of like unveiled the demonic once again, and they did it with a ritual which is pretty clear is the opening of a portal, of a satanic portal. Now, when you dig a tunnel is always a portal to the underworld. This is a very long tunnel, probably the longest in continental Europe, and basically so while the devil lost in the old Swiss legend, he hasn't lost definitely in this opening ceremony, as you can see. Because it was definitely dedicated to Baphomet, and the images that we will see now clearly show us that. Welcome to the Leo Zagami Show, in an episode dedicated to the portals of hell, the multiverse reality, one day before the opening of a new movie that seems pretty much influenced by the dark side of this society. I mean, when you have the involvement of Walt Disney these days in a movie, you know that there is nothing good coming out of it. However, here we have the workers. I mean, it's like it's this art, this how you say, this event and this ritual that you are seeing, in a way, ridiculed even the workers, you know, that sacrifice some with their lives because people die at times in accident, you know. So and also the masses who will travel through the tunnel. So after portraying the workers, as you saw, as zombies, soldiers, the ceremony portrays the general population as a bunch of lavish people, how you say, people who appear to be extremely suggestible. Yes, I would say brainwashed.
Yeah, brainwashed.
Brainwashed.
Democrats.
No, well, in general, a lot of the people population, and no matter if they're Democrats or non-Democrats, unfortunately, are brainwashed. Then, emerging from a train passing through the tunnel, there is also this, you saw that demonic fallen angel, a baby face Lucifer almost. You saw that with those, you see the inside. And it's like this dark ceremony. And then a woman dropped the goat man in white, as she was almost saying, "You are now the king of the world." It's definitely this kind of makes us understand that the world has definitely gone insane, or either is serving, of course, the dark side. And it's serving the dark side in a moment in which, of course, we are heading towards the most important phase for the demonic, the attempt that the devil will do to enslave humanity through the mark of the beast, the digitalization of our society, the digital ID. All this is basically the mark of the beast, microchipping of countries, demonic countries like Sweden, for example. Demonic country, Sweden. What's it?
They're in their underwear?
Well, yes. And it must be pretty cold in Switzerland. I mean, you see in the mountains, it's like all snow. Yeah. But they seem to be kind of like not caring about that. So Europe, most powerful people were there. And let's remember what Albert Pike said in his Morals and Dogmas of the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemason. He said, "Lucifer the light bearer, strange and mysterious name to give to the spirit of darkness, Lucifer the son of the morning. Is it he who bears the light, and with his splendors intolerable blinds feeble, sensual, selfish souls? Doubt it not, for traditions are full of divine revelations and inspirations. And inspiration is not of one age, nor of one creed. Plato and Philo also were inspired. The Apocalypse indeed is a book as obscure as the Zohar." These were the words of Albert Pike. What you're watching is the inauguration of the Gotthard Tunnel in 2016, when in Switzerland there was a lot of weird things happening in that period of time. And of course, the situations, I mean, it seems pretty surreal. Kirsty, what do you think? I mean, it is like really surreal.
I'm not really good at understanding what this is about.
Well, that's why I'm here. Okay.
I wanted to say, though, I remember like back then in 2016, especially on Facebook, a lot of my friends and people were saying that they were hearing like weird sounds in the air, like trumpets or some weird like sounds like in Europe.
Now, at the beginning of 2016, this happened though. So the Large Hadron Collider, which, by the way, is coming back into action as we speak this year after 3 years of being suspending their activities. U.S. theorists claim to have filmed mysterious vortex of clouds and UFO orb of light flying above Swiss facility. Because, of course, these people are working with forces that are, I mean, they are basically bringing a scientific approach to what was done for thousands of years in an unscientific way. They want to literally open the gates of hell scientifically. They want to open the portals to another dimension scientifically. Now, of course, there is people who still don't even believe there is other universes or other dimensions. But science has demonstrated that's the case. However, here there is also another hypothesis, the fact that they're also, of course, working on weather modification, climate change, artificially working on climate change. So let's see what happened here exactly. See if we can show some of the images, at least from this article. There is a video here, and you can see this weird formation on top of the CERN center. Now, during the course of the summer of 2016, something really weird went on at CERN. This happened instead in early 2016. This happened in early 2016, and it was definitely a weird occurrence. Probably happened. Actually, it happened for sure because of the experiments that were conducted in CERN. So what kind of experiments were conducted in CERN, and what happened in the summer?
Wait.
What?
We're crooked. Fix that.
Okay.
Oh,
since when we were crooked?
We were crooked the whole time. I was like this, and I'm like this. I'm like, wait a minute, it's not me, it's the camera. I was like, why is that all like?
Sorry, guys, the camera had a wonky. The camera had a wonky moment. Camera had a wonky.
I was going like this.
The camera had a wonky moment. Unfortunately, our technology here.
I'm in the technical department.
Okay. So let's move further, because here I want to show instead what happened in the summer of that year that sparked a big controversy on the fact that this was a genuine ritual or just a mocking. But we know that even at the Bohemian Grove, they do a mocking ritual of human sacrifice. But all this happened also in front of a particular statue. Check this out. So allegedly somebody filmed it from the windows. You can see the guy filming from the window. Yeah. And here that's the statue of Shiva, the destroyer of worlds, which is basically in front.
They will discover an area that has difficulty. When that happens, the patient is already
So this is Zagaman, guys, because
rapidly control this patient's
where is this audio coming from? I don't know. kind of like
Oh,
appeared.
wow.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what we are watching is, of course, the infamous ritual that was conducted in front of CERN, and the statue that is a very important statue that also led to a lot of speculation, such that, by the way, the same image is found also, as I describe in my book, in volume 7 of my Confessions, in a key meeting that was held with by the World Health Organization. Here's the ritual, you see, and there would be the actual human sacrifice. But
What?
yes, but we don't know if they say it's
Are they wearing black?
Yes, yes.
Cloaks?
Yes, yes.
Gee.
So here they are. The girl is there, about to be stabbed.
What's wrong with this planet?
What's wrong with this planet?
Oh, seriously.
So we don't know. It might have been just a joke, very dark one indeed.
I don't think that's
But the thing is, I analyzed and I think that we have a lot of ritualists here in the chat that can agree with the fact that these people were moving in a very knowledgeable way, following a script, a ritual script, which has to be followed. I mean, they were all moving in a certain way. They were not just, it wasn't chaotic. And so it leads really to think that this was a genuine ritual. Christy's shocked. Christy, don't be shocked. Don't be shocked. Join the multiverse.
Staying out of multiverse.
So, well, we all join, in a way, the multiverse when we go to sleep, Christy, because that's another dimension. That's it. The real controller of the New World Order, Satan himself, this twisted the use of the whirling dervishes, this whole hell creation, really, for the inauguration of another portal, actually, the opening of a portal that was probably closed there and shouldn't have been reopened in any way. It's clear that the whole thing is evil. It's totally clear.
It's really scary. I remember watching it first time.
So this is what the West, this is all the elite, the European elite worships this. And this is basically what we are supporting today with the war in Ukraine. This is what we are supporting today with the Biden administration. This is what we are supporting today with everything that is wrong in this world. It's obvious that the identity and motives behind all this were never really revealed, and that's why they are revealed in my latest book, which of course talks about this and all the subjects which we are discussing today. And I hope you can share this video. I hope you can make this video a bit more popular, as well as the channel, because we really need your support. We really need your support. As you know, we have been unfortunately and constantly censored over and over again, channels. And so we need your support. But it seems like people are a bit lazy. Spread the spread, you know, how you say, spread the news that we are on these channels now. We have opened a series of new channels. The Zagaman is the new channel for the Leozagami show. We have LeoZagamiAno Ufficiale, and then of course we have Facebook, the Leo Lion Zagami in America page, which you can find. Now, occultists have basically worked behind the scenes in mystery schools from the times of Atlantis, going through Alexandria of Egypt, through the Greek, Roman tradition, all the way to us. They have been working with these elements. And in my book, I also explain how Tedros Adhanom, the head of the World, Dr. Tedros, the infamous head of the World Health Organization, met in front of a statue of Shiva the Destroyer, just, you know, before unleashing hell on earth, the first phase of the Great Reset. That's why we have here the symbol of the World Health Organization, Ahriman, the symbol of the Antichrist, and of course a materialization of the cyber Satan. Please, Christine.
Remember when the Pope put Moloch at the Colosseum?
Yes.
Was that before or
well, I mean, it wasn't
the
the Pope, but the Pope, with the permission of the Pope, the Moloch at the Colosseum. Yes.
Was that before or after the pandemic?
I was just when the pandemic was starting to spread, but it wasn't yet known. So in the fall of 2019, before the official start of the pandemic. So it was actually then kept there, the statue of Moloch, another symbol of a portal, you know, in a place like the Colosseum, where so many people died as martyrs of the Christian faith. Definitely was unusual. The Pope, as you know, didn't go to the yearly event, actually, and Moloch was left there, symbolic, very symbolic, the fact that this hideous deity that usually requires the sacrifice of children and men was placed there right at the start of this project, because you see, it's a project for the New World Order, a project that starts with people like Dr. Fauci, ends up with Zelensky and passes through Xi Jinping, and of course everybody else that is involved in this world, world that is of course descending not so much into madness, because I mean it's madness if you are not knowledgeable of things, but in reality, when you understand, you can see that it's not a descent into madness, it's rather a descent into evil, conscious evil, and of course we know that the Chinese-driven New World Order, after destroying the world economy with their biological warfare, aiming to dominate global affairs with a new trading network, has a diabolical strategy, which is, of course, working together with Russia. Russia, in a way, it's risking to becoming a vassal of China. So they need to avoid that. Otherwise, they will then have to accept their communistic mentality, and the Russians have already experimented communism, and they don't want to really experience communism. They are actually working with what is called managed democracy, which is, of course, a creation, a more recent creation. So, welcome to the Leo Zagami show. We saw the ritual in front of Shiva, and then Shiva, this destroyer of worlds, placed in this important meeting in January 2019, so 1 year before the pandemic is unleashed, Dr. Tedros in front of the statue with the representatives of the Chinese government. And remember this, that the father of the atomic bomb, J. Robert Oppenheimer, for his, his work on bombs is known to all of us because they were the only ones that were used, fortunately, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But he referred to an Hindu text, a quote referring to Shiva, taken from the Bhagavad Gita, when there was the first test of the atomic bomb in 1945. He said, "I become death, the destroyer of worlds." So, I become death, the destroyer of worlds. But also the fact that these experimentations, with other dimensions have been going on for a long time. And I try to explain this also in Invisible Master. Now, there is really a link between Invisible Master and Volume 7. And I suggest the people who buy this to buy this too, because they will understand, this is about the Fourth Reich. It talks about the Third Reich. In the Third Reich, there was a castle, Wewelsburg. This castle functioned as a portal for the forces of evil, of course, unleashed, evoked by the SS. Let's go and check this place in a recent video.
From this angle, the castle looks a bit more imposing. I'm sorry I can't really get it all in because I've got a wall directly behind me. Maybe on a day like today, it has more effect than it would have had it been here in the summer. Although it is raining and I'm getting wet. Could be worse, I suppose.
Now, this, Christie, was the headquarters of the infamous SS, but not any SS, the elite of the SS, the knights of the round table of the SS of Himmler.
Well, I don't doubt this is very attractive, but can't see the attraction for the Nazis. Anybody must know ornithology, there's a great tit. And there would have been one here also when Himmler was here. There's the church. Can't see the church.
Now I want to bring you to the inside of the castle, the place where they actually conducted the rituals. And I guess this is really the part that becomes more interesting to see, no?
I have a question.
Please.
Did they do it before the war? These like portal things in this castle?
No,
Did they do it during the war?
It was during the Second World War.
Oh.
And like I explained in The Invisible Master, after the war, they were used again by Michael Aquino and a group of intelligence officers. It became basically an opportunity. I mean, Michael Aquino was heavily criticized because he apparently used taxpayer money, him and other 11, I think, intelligence officers, so they could do this ritual. I talk about it very much in detail in the book, which is, of course, Invisible Master, if you are interested here. Is the part in question. And of course, I show the actual ritual crypt of the SS. But here we have a video that maybe can bring us even closer to this place.
From this angle,
so we can go in, I think, because it goes in.
What have you? This being part of socialist ideology in many countries in the 30s and what have you, the only type of labour is physical labour. And the fact that
let's see if we can, when we go here we go, start going. Here we are in the crypt, you see? This is where actually the rituals were conducted by the SS and by some Tibetan monks working with Bompa.
What's that?
There was a flame, there were fumes, people were going trance, then people on top will meet. There will be there was a table, a circular table, and the Nazi will meet, and the people under will communicate with the other dimension, and then they will bring their communication to the
That's
other.
horrible. Ooh.
I believe the SS wanted to hold some type of remembrance things and what have you here, some kind of ceremonies. For example, the rings of dead SS officers were brought to Wewelsburg, and maybe this.
You like that?
Creepy. I'm gonna have a nightmare.
To actually get involved in. The work was actually done by people
stuff.
from the concentration camp in Niederhangen. We never actually found out though. Nobody knows why. The rings were brought here, what was to be done here, what kind of weird ceremonies. I often think things like Masons and things, that they do weird ceremonies. I don't know if they do.
You say Mason?
No, but interesting thing is that it's very rare to find a video inside this crypt. So I really am happy that I managed to finally find this crypt.
Having any interest in that for that matter.
Huh?
Yikes.
Within the crypt, we've got these pictures which picture of a painted, opened in 1950 to the victims of National Socialism, and which done by a local artist from Buren. Was here until about 1973 when they were taken away. I think these are just copies now, because obviously the moist there, I can feel it. It's not particularly ideal for pictures, but let's have a look at what we've got of the thousands. This is the real reference, the real Nazism. There we have it. Thousands of dead.
Aliens.
What does this have to do with the aliens? Anything?
Well, I mean, here we are definitely, this is a weird kind of, art exhibition that is being going on there with these images that at times resemble some alien creatures, which is really weird.
The dead of Hitler's war.
Yeah, I mean, what is this?
Concentration camps.
It's weird because then, you know, you can reconnect it to the fact that aliens are extra-dimensional creatures.
Do you remember those girls that did that work? And then they went to Aldebaran or something?
Aldebaran, yes, of course. You're talking about the Vril Society.
Yeah.
Yes. Whether they were communicated telepathically to get the let's say that the Nazis got their technology demonically from an extra-dimensional source. Regarding Hubbard and Jeff Parsons, NASA, the whole opening of a portal in Pasadena, and all that, of course, I will refer also to Invisible Master because
Pasadena.
Well, also there is, of course, they at one point they had the headquarters of a lodge. Interdimensional is also intergalactic because you can, of course, move, and even science is proving that they can be, of course, not only a multiverse, but a way of connecting from one part to the other of the universe thanks to some special tunnels, let's say.
Hopelessness. That, in my opinion, also absolutely sums up what National Socialism was all about. And the person who painted these pictures, himself a German local, who would have been a victim of Hitler's war, the Nazis' war, would have understood what he was doing. And if this script is to serve for anything, it is for what is actually written here. Now, today, and not this weirdo, I don't know, farcical world of the National Socialists, the Nationalists, and all others who want to believe in these extremely evil fairy tales of racism, supremacy of one people over another, and wicked ideologies. This is the staircase up to the North Tower, up the North Tower I should say. The inner sanctum of the higher SS.
On top where they had their, instead their rune symbol on the floor, and then there will be some holes with the fume smoking, and then there will be the people gathering around the round table. See, says that filming in the opposite, so at the top of the tower, is not permitted. Although I don't understand the reason for this, I respect the wish of the administration did not film. It's just a round room in the castle with a Nazi design on the floor. So if you want to see it, you will have to visit the castle. Well, I saw it. I didn't go into the castle, but I saw photos of it, and of course, it is basically this thing, this kind of a swastika symbol on the floor, runes around. There is then some holes that basically communicate from downstairs, so if there were the smokes from downstairs will emerge upstairs in the meeting. Welcome to the Leo Zagami show. I see we have a few people today. Wow, you seem to be very interested in the creepy. We will be opening soon our phone line. Actually, we should open the phone line at this point. Regarding the castle of Westenburg,
where is that?
Bebelsburg. Well, the castle in particular was born, I think, was entered the control of the SS in 1934. And basically, it's the site is where the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest occurred. And this is a very important battle. This castle was built between 1603 and 1609. It was basically the secondary residence of the Prince Bishop of Paderborn, and the German tribes and all the area around there was very important because it's connected to the very roots of Germany, and the German tribes that fought against the Roman Empire and ambushed three Roman legions in the area. The battle, of course, against the Roman Empire, and so a symbol, I guess, also. But there is also the way it's built, the way it's built, and what it symbolizes is basically the spear of destiny, because it's it's like there was a belief that this site would become the location where the spear of destiny will be one day held. And of course, the Third Reich gave a lot of importance to the spear of destiny, as we know. We discussed this also in previous episodes of the Leo Zagami show. So for them, the Webelsburg was going to be the epicenter of their project, the center of the world, of their the holy of holies of Nazism and the SS, of course. So the vault that, of course, that was made also to eventually receive the Holy Grail, because there is a lot of truth in the elements that we found on Indiana Jones movies, they were really obsessed.
Yeah, those were Nazis.
Yes, they were very much obsessed with all this.
Maybe we should watch that movie.
Of course. The inner sanctum of the Webelsburg Castle is the symbol, that the letters engraved SS in silver using this runic alphabet. A Catholic publication in the early 1970s wrote the following regarding what they were doing in this castle. So Webelsburg guests meditated on mysticism, on the morals of honor, on the spiritual myth of blood, very important, and on other Gnostic and dualistic themes dear to the German elite. These retreats were made in the scenery of a room of almost 500 square meters above the vault, where was located the altar of their new religion. So this macabre museum that we saw in the video, because today it's really a macabre museum, has a very dark history indeed. And at one point, The history of modern Satanism touches the history of the Third Reich when Michael Aquino decides to go there. Now, I wrote in Invisible Master a chapter called The Ultra-Dimensional Portal of Lucifer, because it's also connected in a way to the work of Otto Rahn. Otto Rahn, who published a book 2 years before the start of the Second World War, a book that basically was called Lucifer's Court. And it was a very important publication for Himmler's SS, and gave Otto Rahn, who then died in mysterious circumstances in Montségur, in that place connected to, of course, also the history of the Knights Templars as well as the heresies of the Cathars. So there is definitely a lot to be said here. But regarding what happened with Michael Aquino basically, with other people, including Colonel Alexander, Colonel John B. Alexander, visited Webbersburg while on second. They were basically on mission for NATO in Europe. So this makes you understand NATO in Europe. Secondment, they were on secondment for NATO in Europe. Secondment means the transfer of a military officer or a corporate executive to another post for temporary duty. So what kind of duty is this supposed to be? Michael Aquino pointed out that he was merely interested in the techniques used by Nazi occultists rather than racial or political issues, but he reenacted these rituals. Michael Aquino, in the 1980s, the famous or infamous Satanist, even went on Oprah Winfrey's show. He is part of the second phase of Satanism. The first phase, the first modern Satanism, starts with the Church of Satan or Anton LaVey, or Anton Levy, however you want to call him. Then the second phase is Michael Aquino. The third phase is, of course, Lucian Greaves and the Satanic Temple, which, of course, supports NATO and the war in Ukraine. Supports Ukraine against Russia. The well-known British journalist Gavin Baddeley, who was, by the way, initiated by Anton LaVey in the Church of Satan, said that in 1984, Aquino, like Nicholas Schreck, made a visit to the SS Castle of Wewelsburg, conducting a rite in the notorious Hall of the Dead. The reality of this chamber rushed in on me, Aquino later wrote. This is no Hollywood set, no ordinary room painted and decorated to titillate the senses. Because remember, he even himself said 12,035 inmates of the Niedergagen concentration camp died during the construction and re-embellishment of the Wewelsburg castle for the SS. They used people from the concentration camps. And most of those people were either Jews, Gypsies, Masons. Aquino indicated also in his official website of the Order of the Trapezoid, which is part of his Temple of Set project, he said that basically the Order of the Trapezoid was conceived in the Wewelsburg Castle in Westphalia, Germany, during the Wewelsburg working on October 19th, 1982, in the Hall of the Dead, Valhalla.
Yeah, I was in Germany then.
You were in Germany back then?
Mm-hmm.
It was sketched out on a desk in the Wewelsburg caretaker office. When I returned the Valhalla keys to him following the work, and was drafted in precise mathematical proportions on a table in Eva Braun's tea room in the Eagle's Nest at Obersalberg. I could have done the drafting earlier, but wanted the environment to be magically appropriate, said Aquino. I mean, these people really, NATO, with NATO money, on mission for NATO, conducting a satanic ritual for the opening, basically to further open the gates of hell. I mean, we have to really understand that there is some serious evil going on in this world. And I have denounced all this, and I talk about all this in this book, as well as this latest book, which is very important. From the Occult Roots of the Great Reset to the Populist Roots of the Great Reject. However, after 20 years of being on the internet, it's kind of like a little bit annoying that still, because of all this censorship and the power that Satan has over our reality, Leo Zagami is not capable of reaching millions of people, but rather a few. And this demonstrates that cyber Satan, which is in the meantime building his reality through the artificial intelligence and will fully manifest it in the next 8 years, is temporarily winning its war. Temporarily. Okay, Casey? Temporarily winning its war. But it's a temporal thing. It's not like we have to give up.
No.
Because we know that we can win this war.
You will.
Now, one of the people involved with Aquino, Colonel John B. Alexander, then became involved, of course, with ufology, with also the experimentations that were conducted with that other guy who works with NASA. What's his name? Who owns all the motels?
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, and they rented. They bought the Skinwalker Range. And so, I mean, here we have really a constant reminder that we are really in front of some very evil people. Now, the Albigeans, before I said the Cathars, but in reality, the Albigeans, which is more, let's say, the Cathar doctrines during the 13th century, gave birth to an heresy that was fought within the Catholic Church. And the Catharism by the Albigeans, refugees in Germany, apparently gave birth also to some elements that are to be found in the Rosicrucian tradition. But like I said, the Lucifer's Court by Otto Rahn is this anti-Christian work in which Rahn identifies Lucifer with the true principle of good, engaged in an eternal struggle against the true principle of evil, incarnated by the Church of Rome and its corrupt hierarchy. I agree that the Church of Rome is a corrupt hierarchy, but I mean, I don't think that Lucifer is fighting Satan here. But in the Gnostic reality, even in some Masonic realities...
Isn't Lucifer Satan?
Well, not for some Gnostic and for a lot of Freemasons who instead believe that Lucifer is kind of like this daring figure, that this Prometheus figure that brought us, who dared going closer to God than others to then fall down. And of course, they are the entities that the Illuminati collaborate with from the beginning of time. And it's interesting, very interesting, that now we have seen a movie that is coming out tomorrow, which we have been talking about today, this Doctor Strange 2, this multiverse, no? This movie about Doctor Strange and the multiverse, in which finally we have this I mean, we're talking here about Doctor Strange in the multiverse of madness, and the Illuminati. And the Illuminati as heroes, superheroes.
So it's like predictive programming.
It's like, yes, programming people, and definitely the fulfillment for these guardians of the threshold of something. They are, of course, trying to make us understand more and more who they are and what they are aiming for here. That is what they are doing, you see. So, as you know, I had my own experiences with them. I had my own experiences in the multiverse. What experiences did you have in the multiverse? Well, you can discuss it with us, and you can do it on the phone, calling us. We will be opening the phone lines, and then you can tell us, what do you think of today's episode? If you ever had an episode connected to a parallel universe of some kind. We had once a very particular experience that you actually talk about in volume 2 of your book, when we went towards Lubbock in Texas.
That was really, really weird.
Very, very weird experience. So your experience with the multiverse, you can call us, and the number is, of course, +1 970 577 6369. I repeat, and of course, you can call us from the US without the +1, but if you are in the United States, if you are not in the United States, +1. Yes, that's how it is. So we are opening the phone lines, and we can also talk to Siri a second. What is a multiverse, Siri? What is a multiverse?
Here's what I found.
And what did you find? What is the multiverse? Can you tell us something about it? What is the multiverse? He doesn't want. He doesn't seem to understand me very well. This Siri.
Maybe it's your accent.
Maybe it's my accent. It's confusing. Siri is confused by my accent. Siri, do you know what is a multidimensional reality?
I found this on the web.
Too easy, Siri. Too easy. Okay, let's take this call. Welcome to the Leo Zagami show. Who am I talking with, and where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Kirk from DC again. How are you?
Hi.
Oh, hello there. Did you like the subject of today's discussion? And of course, did you ever have yourself an experience of some kind that can be close to the multidimensional hypothesis or multiverse?
So far, this has probably been my favorite episode.
That's good.
And yeah, I'd say probably my entire life is an interface with the multiverse. But I want to say this. Like I said, I'm in DC, and I work right across the street from you know where. And
okay.
Just today, I saw a UFO above.
Above the headquarters of the Supreme Council?
You got it. That's right.
Okay.
And it was probably pretty foolish of me. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was very, very high up in the atmosphere, and it was about to disappear behind a cloud. And I sort of projected my thoughts at it. And I said, "Hold on a second. I want to make sure you are what I think you are." And it stopped, and it made a right-hand turn right there, and started kind of coming in my direction, and it sort of disappeared. And I kind of thought maybe I should not have done that.
So it
really?
it interacted with your thought.
Yes, apparently.
Interesting, of course. So that's why we always say that people that kind of like created also these protocols for contact, like the guy Greer, no? And they kind of I
think in your book, Hidden Masters, you actually refer to some to that happening.
Yes.
That they respond consciousness.
Yes.
So at any rate, and it's interesting tonight you brought up the Lucifer's Court. I actually just recently read about half of it. I stumbled upon it, and I was just vaguely curious about what this guy had to say for himself. And it's interesting. The book is sort of a travel log, but then it increasingly becomes a polemic against the Roman Catholic Church. And as someone who identifies as a Roman Catholic, a traditional Roman Catholic, I reject Vatican II. I only go to the traditional Latin Mass. So I was curious to see what Otto Rand had to say for himself. And
so what did you think of his Gnostic point of view, let's say?
What do I think of the Gnostic point of view?
Of his Gnostic point, because the Gnostics have many ways of...
Oh yeah, you nailed it. I mean, he definitely thinks Lucifer is the salvific figure, and that Jesus and the church are evil and responsible for keeping us sort of trapped in a hell world. And he really rails against Catholicism. And I got to the middle of the book and I just started kind of feeling sick. I just said, I think I get it. I think I understand where that's coming from, and I've had enough. But he describes just immense holocausts of Albigensian heretics being sacrificed and burned at the stake at the drop of a hat by churchmen. And I mean, assuming that's true, obviously it's awful to even picture, but he really self-identified as the son of these heretics. I mean, he comes right out. He says, "I'm a heretic, and I'm a Cathar, and my forefathers are these Albigensians who the church slaughtered." And and he wanted to see the church's power gone. And he tied it all into a lot of the magical traditions of the late Middle Ages, and the minstrels and the troubadours. And so it was interesting because, as someone who appreciates, some Wagner, for instance, like Parsifal, I always thought Parsifal was kind of a mystical Christian sort of an opera, but
it's connected to the Holy Grail in a way. That's why you thought maybe it will resemble a more Christian approach.
Yeah.
But of course, then it becomes also one of the leading themes of Nazism, and of course,
yeah, right.
So then we have also that. But of course, it's beautiful music. But we also know that Richard Wagner definitely has some very close links also with the Illuminati and so on. There is definitely a lot that can be said there. We should maybe do further on a more in-depth episode on the occult roots of Nazism.
I think that'd be a great idea. As far as Wagner's connection to Masonry or the Illuminati, I read his autobiography. That was a good 700-something pages. This was many years ago I read it. Yeah. In fact, I read it while I was working at a Jewish museum. and one of my docents, who was a Holocaust survivor, actually recommended that I read the book because she was a huge fan of Wagner. But at any rate, I don't remember coming across any material in his autobiography that had to do with him being involved.
No, well, but in fact, it's a much more complex than that. And we should go maybe into it in a specific episode. But there is a link there that basically is also with his hometown and with, let's say, all the environment which he might not have been formally part of, but he was inspirational, and he was living in a milieu that was basically then inspirational to, of course, people like Adolf Hitler, but not only him. There was a revival of the Illuminati in 1888 in Dresden, conducted by Theodor Heuss and Leopold Engel. That is also part subject that I talk about. Did you get my latest book?
Not yet.
Okay.
That's next on my list for sure. But if you were, I think you were asking if I had any experience? Would you count time travel as experience?
No, but I think already that you're experiencing what you said with that light on top
UFO,
of yes,
UFO is good enough for you. Okay.
Yes, I think that was definitely a great experience, also because it just happened, and it kind of like makes us understand, because as you said in my book Invisible Master, I also discuss of the fact that there is this telepathic connection that at times goes on with these lights, or whatever they are. I mean, so the UFO phenomena is, as you know, demonic in nature. Though I have always, but when it comes, though, here you're talking about the UFO, I mean, the light maybe, but when it comes down to the actual unidentified object that could be there in the sky, we don't necessarily have to think that the people who are the entities that are involved in driving it, in conducting it, are necessarily evil, because I agree with Timothy Alberino. He wrote in his latest book something that I shared here in volume 7 about the fact that, you know, the actual hardware is not the software. The software can be evil, but the hardware could be simply, it's like not necessarily everybody that drives a Ferrari is evil. But you know, it's not like if you see somebody arriving with a Ferrari, he's the devil. But the devil could be driving a Ferrari. That is the concept. So when it comes to certain elements that we find in the skies, these lights that appear, that is a different kind of matter. But when it comes to objects that seem to be more complex and more like a space traveling object of some kind,
like a spaceship?
A spaceship, basically. Yes, a spaceship.
Well,
then that is a different thing, because, like I said, you know, we cannot say that everything that goes around in the skies is inherently evil. So, I mean, that is a distinction that is very subtle, but a distinction I discuss in my latest book. So thank you so much for calling in. I would like to give also the possibility to other people to give their own experience. We don't have much time at disposal.
Yeah, so definitely.
Please call us the next time. We can discuss more.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
Okay. And thank you for sharing your experience. Okay.
I don't like this UFO stuff.
Bye.
Bye. You don't like the UFO stuff?
I don't believe that any of it is good.
Yeah, you don't believe it. No, but I'm not saying that.
No. Like, if I ever see a spaceship, I'm like running, because that's it. And I'm going to start praying to God, and that's it. I am not going to follow any spaceship.
Yes, but here we go back to what Timothy Alberino, who is a rather, you know, Timothy is very much Christian in his approach. Now, he specifically said something that I agree with.
What?
I can't find it. It's in a passage of my book, which I cited his own book, which is very interesting, which I read, the book that he sent me. Let's see if I can find a specific passage. But it kind of explains what here we're trying to let me see. See if I can find it here, and I can cite the Timothy's citation from his book Birthright, The Coming Post-Human Apocalypse and the Usurpation of Adams. Now, like I say, despite the many symbols of the Christian theology that gives us a real insight, okay, but there are some Christian researchers that have a different take on this subject. Like Timothy Alberino seems to believe that there is, okay, he thinks that, you know, the alien demonic connection is not really there, but one thing regarding Alberino is that he... Hello there? Okay, are you there? Somebody is... oh, okay, just a second. I was just finishing this and I will be with you. So Timothy Alberino cleverly points out, you see, my friend Timothy Alberino writes, both fallen and unfallen angels come from the same civilization, Okay, so both fallen and non-fallen angels come from the same civilization and are members of the same race. And the presumption that only the bad guys travel in advanced aerospace vehicle is a logical fallacy. And I agree with that. Because Alberino says they share the same general appearance, the same heritage, the same language, the same custom, the same knowledge, and the same technology. Hardware has no allegiance. Technology can be fallen. A flying saucer is no more good or evil than your Ford truck. I believe this is quite... okay, welcome to the Leo Zagami show. Who am I talking with? Hello?
They're talking to me.
Hi, Leo, Christy. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, welcome. Where are you calling from? What's your name? And put down the background because otherwise we get a feedback.
I'm from upstate New York.
Upstate New York. What's your name?
I think there's a bit of a lag and
yes,
delay.
There is a little bit of delay. You should put down your. You should be in headphones because it's a little bit like when you're on the kind of like
well,
there is a feedback.
If you listen to the YouTube, they're like it's behind.
Yeah. So just put down the volume. I mean, of course, you have to listen to me, but try to put down the volume or have headphones. Okay. Because it's too much delay.
Maybe if you call back.
Call back so we can maybe have a better connection.
Okay.
Otherwise, you have to put the headphones on. You have headphones?
It's not. It's just a lag.
Okay.
In the thing.
Welcome to the Leo Zagami show. Who am I talking with?
Hi, Leo and Christy. It's Jason Serpentino. And
hi.
I want to ask you. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, please. Jason Serpentino calling from
El Paso, Texas.
Oh, from Texas, El Paso. Great. Did you like the subject of today's discussion? And have you ever experienced the multiverse in some form?
I don't know. I'd have to think about that. But I like the part where they're killing the girl. What do you think? Do you think they got like a girl that's like suicidal or something, or they trick her, telling her, it's just gonna be like playing around, like we're not really gonna do it. Where it's just gonna be
okay. You're talking here about the allegedly mocking ritual conducted in front of CERN.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, I mean, we will never have, unfortunately, any confirmation. Like I said, the ritual might look genuine, but even genuine rituals at times are made with mocking sacrifices. So let's just, as an example, point out on the Bohemian Grove. They apparently have, at least nowadays, a mocking ritual, not a real one. So, but I'm sure that there is a real one that is done somewhere. That's for sure. We are not sure of it in this case. But what's your take on that ritual? Did you find it like a genuine ritual, or you think they were just playing around?
I'm thinking if it's genuine, I'm thinking how do they convince her? Maybe they tell her it's not going to be genuine. It's just going to be playing around.
Well, of
really
course.
Well,
of course. Well, on TV. They didn't know there were. Apparently, there was somebody filming. It seems to me, though, that definitely it was a mocking ritual because, like you said, otherwise how they will get to agree. Having said that, though, in ancient times, in ancient Rome, for example, there was rituals of human sacrifice of virgins that were sacrificed willingly. They would go to the altar and get sacrificed because the way that they were brainwashed all their life was that they were brought up for that aim, to please the gods with that sacrifice. You understand? I don't think this is the case. I mean, that ritual apparently was taking place in 2016. We are not 2,000 or 3,000 years ago in ancient Rome or in ancient Egypt or some other land. But I mean, definitely you made a good point, because the woman in the ritual was pretty much tranquil, you know, in front of the possibility.
She wasn't emotional. She probably should be more emotional.
Yes. But like I said, remember that if you are brainwashed into a cult to believe that your sacrifice will actually bring some good, not to the egregore, to the energy that they're feeding, you might be surprised by what some people will do. So thank you very much for the call, and thank you very much for pointing out on this specific, you know, this thing. Christy,
I'm disturbed.
you disturbed 5th episode of today. Disturb Christy, guys. Don't disturb Christy.
No, but like, okay, the whole UFO thing and what you just said. I just don't understand that. I just don't. Like, inside of me, I just feel like they're demons, and I have no interest in like communicating.
Yeah, but you remember, of course, editing this book, because you've been yes. But what Timothy Alberino says makes a lot of sense. Remember that the angels, fallen angels, are fallen angels, so they come from God. Lucifer had the rebellion. They were punished and made to fall, but they had the same technology. They were angels. So, I mean, then they became demons. Hello there, Patrick Pino. Welcome to the Leo Zagami show. Hello there.
I think it's us.
It's us? What?
I think it's us.
What do you mean it's us? Hello there. Can you hear us? Okay, I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's us.
What do you mean it's us?
Why is everybody like that?
No, it's just that at times it's the line. Okay, maybe it's us, because we let's see. Oh. Here we are. We came from another dimension. We went to another dimension. We came back. Okay. So yes, that was the concept. You see, like we were talking about the fallen angels, basically having the original technology and then moving to the dark side. Welcome to the Leo Zagami show. Who am I talking with? Hello. Hello. Hello.
See the lag?
No, it seems like.
Hey, Leo, this is Sean Pino. How are you?
Very well, Patrick Sciopino. How are you? Yeah, he has the same problem though. He has a volume on the. I thought we solved that problem technically.
Sir, we have a terrible delay.
I know. In fact, you should, Patrick, put put the headphones. Usually works when you put the headphones. Huh? Is that a good idea? Seems like we have a terrible.
Yes, they're on, but I can't hear. I have headphones on, but I can't actually hear any audio through the call. I can only hear you on YouTube, but when I dial in, I can hear myself a few minutes or a few seconds later, but for some reason it's a terrible delay and no audio on the line itself. I can't hear you back through the phone.
Well, that's usually we never have this problem. So it's kind of like today.
I'll clear the line and we'll try another caller, maybe.
No worries. But today, the entities, the multiverse, the Illuminati. What the hell is going on? Oh, oh well, somebody tries, but then they don't manage. We will attempt one last call. We never had this kind of problem. The multiverse in motion, definitely. Somebody said it, Stephen. Yes, it's true. This is like, I mean, guys, we never have this kind of problem. We never really have this kind of. I'm gonna just for curiosity, I'm just gonna reopen the lines in a way that see if.
First caller, it was okay.
And then it kind of went bizarre. It went all bizarre on us. Why?
Ooh, it's the topic.
The topic is weird. Okay.
You brought weirdness in this dimension.
I brought weirdness in this dimension. I'm sorry for that. But yes, like I said, I think that Timothy Alberino and what he pointed out is not bad. I mean,
well, angels come from heaven.
Yes, and also originally Lucifer was an angel. Did you know that? And all the rebel angels, in fact, the Book of Enoch is all about that. Then they were casted out of heaven and they fall on earth, and then they make panky with the daughter of man and the giants, and you know, the whole story. It's a bit complex story, but basically it brought us where we are now. So the fallen angels should have, in theory, the same technology as the other angels, even if they're fallen and now they're demonic and working for the dark side. Does this make sense?
Yeah, I guess.
It's a little bit like the dark side.
But then what's to stop those people that follow all this stuff, the ufologists, and they expect like these good entities to come in spaceships and save them?
Well, that's another thing.
That's another thing.
Hello there. Welcome to the Leo Zagami show. Who am I talking with?
It's Rob again from FEMA Region 3.
Hey! Okay, so we can hear you loud and clear. You seem to have a good line. Of course, the topic of today. Have you ever experienced the multiverse yourself?
I would say yes. Visitations, sightings. I think there's a familial trait in my family that attracts the metaverse experiences. I think there's some type of a genetic link to people, whether they have this or not. Some people are just blind to the metaverse, meaning that the spiritual realm is you're alluding to.
Well, it's interesting that you're calling it the metaverse, the multiverse and the metaverse, because in reality, and we started the show talking about Zuckerberg just going to the Italian Prime Minister, talking about the metaverse. He's creating artificially another dimension.
Exactly. Yeah.
And people need to understand that, you know, he's building with the help of the artificial intelligence, which is cyber Satan, another dimension to enslave the people in this dimension, but also to make them basically even more under attack by the demons that at that point will be able to pop in the metaverse and drag you in hell with the help simply of a virtual cage reality. Wow, that's very interesting. But your own experience, one experience, because we don't have that much time. One experience in a nutshell that you had with something that wasn't from this dimension.
I guess it was I called it ghost for lack of a better term. It was like a three-dimensional spider web that moved in the dark, if that makes any sense. And I think that was pretty eye-opening, not to make a pun. But to your point about the metaverse with Zuckerberg and the Silicon life forms, you know, they talked about the fallen ones or the watchers, is that they were part of the earth and were part of silicon or the rocks. And now they've got rocks, otherwise known as silicon chips, that are now controlling life forms through Zuckerberg's metaverse the small screens we're all using all day long.
Interesting. Somebody is bringing up the fact that, yes, this guy going saying a basic truth. There is bloodlines, DNAs with us. Definitely the bloodlines have a different connection depending on which bloodline with a specific entity or a specific universe, no?
Yeah, my cousins, many of my cousins or nephews and nieces have had what they call night terrors, where you're frozen, you can't move, yet you're just paralyzed. Yes. And it's like, I guess you'd call it a nightmare, where there's someone sitting on their chest and smothering them.
It's terrible.
And this
but that can happen also. It happened to me when I encountered a creature from another universe, and I described that in volume 3 of my Confessions during the magic of Abramelin, and it was definitely terrifying.
Yeah, so you were playing with black magic, and you opened the gate.
Yeah. I mean, people who practice the magic of Abramelin the Mage don't necessarily think it's black magic, because it's one notch up when you want to actually dominate those dark forces to then accede to the upper level. It's kind of like but definitely it becomes black magic, as most of the people then kind of like get lost in the lower realm of the magic of Abramelin. Thank you so much for this really interesting look into your own family that seems to have really a connection with the multiverse, definitely. And it's actually interesting you talk about nightmares, no? Because in this new movie about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse is about this occurring nightmare that happens and drags him
with
into...
my cousins. They're just having, it's really weird to talk to them separately, and I try to tell them, hey, you're not the only one in the family.
Okay. So it's like, how many people in your family you think suffer of this kind of occurrences?
Well, myself, my brother, 3 nephews and nieces, and some distant cousins. It's throughout. Not my direct. I don't know about my father. I suspect he did. He was involved in some strange stuff as well. I would not be surprised at all.
Has it all impacted your life negatively?
Having
Having nightmares and stuff like that, or?
I resolved them. I basically had, like Leo alludes to, developed a hierarchy of myself, seeing what I was seeing and taking control of my destiny, so to speak, in terms of what I was seeing. So.
Well, that's good.
Oh, well, very interesting. It's definitely a topic. Maybe we'll need an even more in-depth discussion in the future from our side. Thank you so much for calling today, and of course, call us also in the future.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. This was the Leo Zagami show today, Christy. We have reached 6 o'clock local time, and we have to bring out Bibi, our Chihuahua known as Rambo, for, of course, his evening walk. This was the Leo Zagami show. I hope you enjoyed the topic of today. Me and my wife, Christy Zagami. And, of course, we can't have a closure without Rambo. Rambo, what's up? Rambo, you wigging your tail. You're ready to enter a new dimension.
Sorry, I'm a big chicken, guys. I don't like this stuff.
Oh, you're such a chicken.
I don't know. I don't like to watch scary movies.
But you have to admit that during the many years you've been with me,
I've had enough experiences.
You had
I've
quite a few.
To know that I don't want anything to do with it.
14 years with Leo Zagami, and what do you think about it?
We had a lot of weird stuff happen.
A lot of weird stuff happening.
Very, very weird.
Very weird.
Can't talk about it. Too weird for words.
Of course.
So I just stay with God.
Well, but if you have, in fact, if you have God and you have the faith in God, then you shouldn't fear anything.
I don't fear anything. I just don't have any interest.
Of course. Better not to play too much with fire, the shin. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoyed the show. I'm not on WhatsApp. Unfortunately, I'm not on WhatsApp. I'm old school. I only phone call, but not even the phone. I don't do anything these days because all my communications are controlled by the enemy. And so, since I moved here in America, I have to live in a very, how you say? We try to not use all these virtual telematic cyber means. They're all controlled. Maybe Signal is better. Who knows? All the best, guys. Take care. Rio and Christy.
See you Saturday.
See you soon.
We're going to talk about the news. Maybe if we run down.
Bye-bye.
God bless us all.
God bless you from Palm Springs, California.